Hello guys, this is a Blender 2.8 video in which I want to show you that you can use the principled shader now for both Eevee and Cycles. But before I start, I open Blender 2.79 to import an FBX model from Sergy Tenditniy. The link is added to the description below. I do this because Blender 2.8 has some issues with importing models, or better to say, it crashes. So I import the FBX in this version and will switch to Blender 2.8 after I set up the model. And here I start by adding materials for both objects, the leather belt and the binoculars. Okay, it's interesting, there's an empty object and two other mesh objects in this project. So I select both objects of the model, then the empty object, and press Ctrl P to define the empty one as the parent. The last thing that I want to do in this Blender 2.79 project is to define an environment texture, and I use an HDRI from HDRI Haven. By the way, you can download all their HDRIs for free now. I added the link to the description. Okay, that's it for the Blender 2.79 project. Now I will save this and open the same project with Blender 2.8. And this is Blender 2.8. I open the project. And here's our model in Blender Cycles. So let's set up the Cycles materials with the principled shader. I open a new node editor window and select the main object, the binoculars. And then I delete the diffuse shader and add the principled shader. Okay, then I connect it to the surface slot, and the next step you already know from previous tutorials. I load the textures of my model, I just drag it to the node editor and new image texture nodes are generated. So first the diffuse texture and connect it to the base color. Then let's import the normal map. Set it to non-color data. And then add a normal map node and connect it to the normal input. As you can see, it's very easy. The next one is the roughness texture and connect it to roughness. And the last one is the metallic. So this looks really great, I love this model, but now I will do just the same for the material of the leather belt, but for this is just an analogy, I will speed up the video here. Okay, we set up the textures for both materials, and now look at this. I switched to Eevee renderer. And yes, I used the same shader, the principled shader, for both Cycles and Eevee with this amazing result. And now you can go crazy and play around with this point light, for example, inside the Eevee viewport, or enable post-processing effects like bloom or ambient occlusion. Really fun. So guys, I hope you liked this Eevee feature show off, and if you do, don't forget to subscribe to my channel to be notified when the next tutorial is online. Please think about supporting me on my Patreon, here's the link, this would really help a lot. Thanks for watching this, thanks for your support, and see you soon.